welcome back to Metropole Business Center. And just like I've been promising right from the top of this show, even right before I took the break, and you know me, once I promise, I deliver. With me in studio, I have a real life beauty queen. First time in my life to actually share, what should I call it, a studio or even a space with a real life beauty queen. And joining me on the show is none other than the most recently and newly crowned Miss World Kenya, Sharon Obara. Welcome to the show, Sharon.
Thank you so much, Ingrid.
First of all, let me just say you're really looking the part.
Thank you so much.
The first thought that came through my mind when you walked through the door was, I totally should have worn my evening gown. I feel so inadequate, but you look very nice.
Thank you so much.
Sharon, congratulations.
Thank you.
Very recently, just at the end of last month, you were crowned, and just like your sash shows, Miss World Kenya 2021.
I was.
What's the journey like? What does this mean to you? Has your life already started changing? I mean, when you're walking on the streets, are you having people, wave at you? What's the whole experience been like for you?
Well, first of all, I am really grateful. I am really grateful because this is such a big platform I've been entrusted with. This is a platform to push for change. It's a platform to better people's lives. It's a platform to better my own life. So since the crowning, life has indeed changed. It's really changed for me in all aspects. First of all, my social life has changed. Right now, I'd have people maybe wanting to take selfies, My social media is also blowing up. It's really a great change, and I'm looking forward to walking this journey with all the grace and elegance that I can.
Right.
Yes.
But now let me ask, and this is from just other pageants. The reason I'm so excited is because I'm really into beauty pageants. I think it's because I know I could never get there. So I really watch Miss World. I really watch all those pageants. And a lot of the times you'll see the winners say, this is a dream come true. I've dreamt about this from when I was a little girl. So Sharon, is this something as a little girl you dreamt about? Is this like a dream come true, or is this something you picked up later along the way? Have you been someone who's so girly, or is it one of those things where I was a tomboy, along the way someone saw I had a nice body and decided to encourage me? So what would you say about people who are trying to get into this space? Is it something that comes from, what does the process look like?
So the journey it's really interesting. It's really interesting, and it takes a lot to be here. It's not just about the glitz and the glam, the looking good. It actually takes a lot. So before you aim for such a platform, you have to be prepared. You have to be in a position where you have to be in that space where you love yourself so fearlessly. You are compassionate with yourself, you're patient with yourself, because it's a journey. This is actually the second time I took the Miss World runway. I did it back in 2019. And as I said earlier, you have to be patient with yourself and compassionate. So I took time, I stepped back, I looked at where I went wrong. I re-strategized, I worked on my shortcomings, I bettered my skills. So it's actually a journey. You also have to be fit. You have to be fit mentally and physically. You have to watch what you eat. You have to watch your diet. So it's a really great journey. And I'd say for me, it started a long time ago. I used to watch the show. It used to air on local television at around 10 p.m. So I used to dodge my sleep time to just get a watch of it. So going forward, I was really fascinated. But by then, the only perception I had of the pageants was the beauty stuff, like the nice hair and dresses. But standing where I am right now, I understand that it's more than that. The theme for Miss World as a global organization is beauty with a purpose. So not only are you beautiful, but you are serving humanity. You have a purpose. You have something to give back to the society. So it's actually a dream come true, because this is a wonderful platform. I can't wait to impart change in as many lives as I can.
Right. Yes. And even before we get a lot more into impacting change and what you'd like to use this platform, to do, I'd like you to help us, first of all, differentiate. Because I know you're Miss World Kenya, but then there's also a Miss Kenya pageant. So what's the difference there? And now what's your mandate as compared to now the Miss World Kenya?
I'm actually glad that there are a lot of beauty pageants platforms that are taking in diverse women and all. But then Miss World Kenya, this Miss World Kenya is among the big 3 pageants globally. So there is the Miss World, the Miss Universe, Miss International, Miss Supranational, and Miss Universe and Miss World. So they are the big 5 pageants. Yeah, the rest are good, but these are the main ones globally.
Right.
Yes.
Now, Sharon, to talk about your purpose, and I'm so glad you mentioned the fact that a lot of people think it's all about that glam. In fact, people think it's all about vanity. You know, she looks nice, she's wearing her tiara, she has a nice body, but they don't really understand that beyond that, there's a lot more that's expected. So you as Sharon, now that you have the crown, it's official, you're Miss World, what should we expect from you? What do you plan to, you know, what do you intend to use this platform for to, you know, somehow impart change to the society?
Thank you so much. So going forward, I intend to use this platform to impact lives and bring about a positive change in our society. This year's theme is mental health, creating mental awareness and destigmatizing the issues surrounding mental health. The global pandemic, it took a toll on everyone. Everyone was affected in one way or another, and it's really affecting our mental health. So we intend to create more awareness and push for the intervening measures that people can actually reach out for help, and that it's okay not to be okay. Yes.
And actually, in line with that, I was doing a little bit of research before you came, like beyond now just being Miss World Kenya. I know you're in the special education needs bracket, right?
Yes.
So I would like you to talk to us about that, in line of what do you do, and maybe how is now your new crown going to feed into that space, if at all?
Yeah, so even before I joined the pageant, back then I was working with children with neurological and cognitive disorders. These are disorders that affect the brain functions and maybe our motor abilities. So there are disorders such as epilepsy, Down syndrome, and autism. So these are a special dosset of children. They're really special in that they require round-the-clock attention. And this can actually take a toll on the mental health of not only their caregivers or their friends or the people around them, but to them also, because it's hard fitting in. It's really hard for them fitting in, and they find it hard to make friends and everything. So what I've been doing with them, basically, we've been preparing fashion show events for them where they get to dress as the people they want to be in future. If one wants to be, let's say, a chef, a pilot or something, we mobilize the designers. So before the main event, we spend like a lot of time with them. We bond with them, we do some activities with them, we help them color, you know, that bond. So on the D-Day, they get a chance to walk a runway. It feels nice, like they're really happy, they feel loved, they feel accepted, they feel warm. So that's what I've been pushing for also. And I also wanted to push for people to understand that they're not like this because they wanted to. It could happen to anyone. So at the end of the day, show them compassion as much as you'd love it to be shown to you, or maybe to another family member who might find themselves in that situation. So that's what we have been doing as special education professionals, and we intend to continue with the same spirit.
I mean, from what you're saying, it obviously seems like you have your work cut out for you, and it actually seems like it's a lot of work that you have to do. However, still for that little girl who's looking at you, like, you know, with those eyes at home, like, oh my God, I can't believe she's Miss World. What would you say are the benefits? Because from what you're saying, it does sound like a full-time job. So from where you're seated, what would you say are some of the perks from wearing that crown on your head? Is there some sort of payment that maybe if someone who's trying to join into this, you'll say, yeah, I'll be earning us. What are the benefits if I decide to get into this space that come with the crown?
For one, I'd say this is a very awesome platform because you get to become a better version of yourself. From where I'm seated, I have undergone trainings, fitness trainings, public speaking, there are etiquette classes, there are financial classes. So this is a really wonderful platform if you intend to grow yourself further. And also, it's a platform where you can push for a cause that is close to your heart. Like this is a chance you get to give back to the society or to make the change that you have always wanted to make. Then other than that, there are many perks in that you can get payments, and you can also strike campaign deals. You can get to meet many people, you get to form like a broader social network. You basically become a good or a better or the best version of yourself.
Right.
Yes.
Now let's talk about, I mean, the pageant is a very big thing.
It is.
But if, depending on who you talk to, or people who've even participated in this space, they'll say there's a lot of politics when it comes to arranging these pageants. Maybe there's not enough support. From your experience, what would you say in terms of support from relevant stakeholders, be it the government? Because I noticed when you were being crowned, there were actually a lot of high-placed officials from the government who are in attendance. Would you feel, and also without disputing the fact that someone like you can actually fully contribute to tourism in the country, believe it or not. Yes. You know, somehow you push the badge of the country. So in terms of getting the relevant support from the relevant stakeholders in government, would you say that's enough for people, like for pageants or even such similar activities in the country?
Well, I'd say so far the support has been great. The shareholders came in different ways. Some came in to provide, like Trademark came in and it was the event venue. Magical Kenya came in, of course, because I'd be a Kenyan ambassador to the world. So they're part of it. Then other sponsors came in terms of clothing and everything. So the support is really nice, and they have different dorsets that they fit in. And also the support that I've gotten from out here is from my friends and family. It's been really great and overwhelming, and I really appreciate it. However, the journey is just starting. Right now we are focused on the international crown. Right. The finals will be on 16th December in Puerto Rico. So before then, I intend to put in the work, to push myself to the limits and to become the best version that I can possibly, because I'm going not only to be representing myself, but Kenya. Right. Out there, I may not be called Sharon, but I will be Kenya. That's Kenya. Right. That's Kenya. That's Kenya. So I intend to put Kenya on the map. And in terms of support, I actually need people to support me because the votings are still on. We are voting on an app called Mobster. So they're basically trying to see how much support you have from people from your country. So the support comes in terms of the votes. So on a daily basis, I'd be posting, like I'm already posting, I'd be posting like 5 to 10 pictures. So they vote for me by liking those pictures. So it's a daily thing. So that's how the people can support me, and the shareholders, they're really coming in. Like I'm still getting the support, the trainings, the clothings and everything. So I think everyone has a dorset, a specific dorset they fit in. Right. Yes.
And so you mentioned something about the pandemic, and that's actually something we have to talk about.
Yes.
The pandemic has changed almost how everything is being done, and I really feel like your industry has not been an exception.
Yes.
How would you say being named Miss World Kenya at a time where, you know, smack in the middle of a pandemic is going to somehow affect your role as the reigning Miss Kenya? And have you somehow thought about how then that's going to affect your delivery in terms of what everything you need to achieve?
So, excuse me. So the pandemic saw a shift in a lot of dynamics, like how we used to run ourselves, how we used to operate, how we used to do our things. So right now, as much as I might not be able to connect with people physically as much as I'd love to, I really love the fact that people are maximizing on their social media platforms. So I might not be there with you physically, but you can always access me virtually via the social media platforms and everything. So I do not intend to let the pandemic impede me from performing my duties. I will utilize the social media platforms and go out as much as I can and do as much as I can. Yes.
And finally, before I let you go, and I know you've really touched a little bit on this, but again, I speak for that little girl, and maybe me, I don't know, because I told you I had a dream. For someone who's been, and I'll give you an example of, for example, the Olympics. Usually when you'll see the people who've competed in the Olympics, and you've even said it yourself, this is not your first rodeo. You tried in 2016, finally you're here. 2019, sorry. Even people who like will be in the Olympics, they'll say, I started training when I was 5. Like there's a lot of work that has been put in. So again, for that little girl who's trying to sit in this exact seat, maybe they're like, next year I want it to be me. What does it take? What advice would you give? How did you make it?
Thank you so much. So from where I'm seated, I tell that little girl, go for it. But above all, self-love. That is the first thing I mentioned. You have to love yourself so fearlessly. Then compassion. You practice self-compassion. You appreciate how far you've come. You visualize how far you want to go. And also, you know that keep going, keep going. And also you do your best, and you put yourself out there, because at the end of the day, they say nothing comes on a silver platter. So I wouldn't be sitting here if I hadn't gone for it. Right. Put yourself out there in positions that will force you to grow. And above all, stay disciplined and determined to your course. Stick to the course. Yeah, that's what.
Maybe one last final thing. Again, because you've already even taken us through what you used to do before you got the crown, and now you have this new, I would say, job that you've taken on.
Yes.
Would you say it's a full-time job that whereby if someone is trying to get into this, you have to forget about everything else and fully devote to this? What would you say about that? Is it like a full-time commitment where you'll now just pretty much say, Ingrid, forget about the fact that you're a journalist, because every day you have to be seen somewhere impacting lives?
Yes.
What would you say about that?
I'd say that being Miss World Kenya is actually a full-time job, because throughout the year you've been crowned, you have to be in service of the crown. So you need to be free. Your schedule needs to be clear. You are not supposed to be held down by other commitments, because some calls come in really urgently. You have to be flexible. You have to fit within the different schedules. So you have to. It's a full-time job. It's a full-time job that you're partaking. So give it a thought before you actually intend to go for it. But I'm not saying you don't go for it, but go for it when you're prepared, you're psychologically prepared, because this will now become your new reality. You are now in service of the crown. You will need to do some humanitarian assignments. You'll need to meet different people. You need to sit in different meetings. So it's actually a full-time job.
As I'm looking at you over here with such perfect posture, I'm slouching over the table. I'm like, yeah, she's really a beauty queen. Sharon, thank you so much for making time to come to talk to us. We're so proud of you. We're rooting for you, and no doubt you're going to make it on the international scene.
Thank you so much.
So for our audience back home, that was Sharon Obara, the most newly crowned Miss World Kenya. And please follow her on her social media handles. Follow her cause and let's support her even as she goes to represent Kenya on the big stage. At this point, I'll take another very quick break, but when I come back, Steph Waswa will be with me in studio to talk about the trending topics of the week. Don't go anywhere.